Well, it was fun making that list of top 10 movies of 2018, and I had a great time listing out the movies that I really loved. Now comes the list of movies that I really did not like. Now these are movies that some of them on the list are I did not review, and some of the movies that I did review, and over time as I've thought about it, they've just gotten worse and worse in my mind, and they've gone from being disappointing to just I don't ever want to see them again. There are no dishonorable mentions I want to give in this one. I'm just gonna go straight to the list because really you're here for the ripping. So without further ado, these are the top 10 worst movies that I actually watched, and I hated these movies. Number 10. At number 10 is Mute on Netflix. Now, I did not mind this movie when I first saw it. I thought it was alright, I thought it was very interesting, and I gave it a fairly positive review. But as you know, sometimes you watch a film and you really like it the first time, and then the more you think about it, the less you like it. Like Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom. That's not on the list, by the way. That's a film that I can still enjoy as a guilty pleasure. I actually was disappointed with this movie. I think Duncan Jones is a great director, but here it's just misguided. This could have been a lot better, but in the end, what we got was just kind of mediocre. I really wanted to get a better movie than we got here, and something that just came out a few months after Blade Runner 2049 in terms of visual effects, it just looks derivative at this point. Number 9. At number 9 was Pacific Rim Uprising, which again, I did not hate the first time I saw it, but I was very lukewarm with it. And ever since then, when I tried watching it again on my television, I couldn't sit through it. There's a great finale, but it got worse and worse from there, like before that at least. It also insults certain characters who have been established in the previous movies, like Mako Mori's character is completely insulted and very easily thrown away. She's kind of given the I forget who the character was in Independence Day Resurgence. She's just thrown away. And I was it was Vivica A. Fox's character. She's completely thrown away. Number 8. At number 8 was Rampage, which again, I enjoyed at points, but the rest of it was awful. The dialogue is terrible. The acting was not the greatest. Dwayne Johnson is a great character actor. I feel like he's a very charismatic person, but here, it's not his issue as much as it is everything else around him. This film was a tonal mess. It was very inconsistent. I did not enjoy this movie at all after like a certain point. Like I said, the part I wanted to see, I got in the very end. Very similar to Pacific Rim Uprising. Very boring, very dull, and I don't recommend this movie really in high regard. Number 7. The Predator was one of my most anticipated movies of 2018 for a very short amount of time because of the director involved and the cast and the team going in. And I was very excited for this film. And ever since I've seen it, it has gone lower and lower as my estimations. This is one of the most disappointing movies I have ever seen. I did not like this film at all. There was nothing redeeming about it. Predator, cool. The rest of the film around the Predator, just tanks. There's one entertaining sequence in it, which is a little chase sequence that happens. Otherwise, aside from that, it's very choppy. It's a reshot, re-edited, and redone disaster. And I can't believe Shane Black did this. I can't believe that this is what came out. I can't believe it even ends so abruptly. It literally ends mid-sentence. And this is something I noticed the second time I was just sifting through scenes before I made this list. My friend mentioned it. I couldn't believe it. This film was a disaster, and I actually feel bad. Number 6. At number 6 is the Cloverfield Paradox, which again has just fallen. How the mighty. I thought the marketing for this film was genius. In the end, however, we got a film that tries to do a lot to connect the Cloverfield universe, and in the end it makes a big mess of the whole thing. I was very disappointed in this movie, and I wish it was a lot better than it was. I loved the first 2 movies. This one just felt like it brings up so many issues, and I get it. They're trying to set up alternate universes and stuff, but the finale of the film is so strange. The final shot is so confusing. It leaves so many questions. I think it was Chris Tuckman's review that said it best. You'd kind of turn into Charlie Day from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, just going crazy.
Now let's talk about the mail. Can we talk about the mail, please, Mac? I'm dying to talk about the mail with you all day, okay? Pepe Sylvia. This name keeps coming up over and over again. Every day, Pepe's mail's getting sent back to me. Pepe Sylvia, Pepe Sylvia. I look in the mail. Well, this whole box is Pepe Sylvia. There is no Pepe Sylvia. The man does not exist, okay? So I decided, oh, shit, buddy, I gotta dig a little deeper. All right, so I start marching my way down to Carol in HR, and I knock on her door, and I say, Carol! in that office. There is no Carol in HR.
Number 5. Speaking of how the mighty have fallen, Mile 22 was so disappointing. This is from the guy who made Deepwater Horizon, Patriots Day, Lone Survivor, even Hancock, which I actually had fun with. I said this in my review of this movie. How do you go from those to this? This is awful. This is his worst film, probably. At least one of his worst. Battleship probably is worse than this. It's very choppily edited. It's very weirdly shot. It's boring. And there's nothing of interest to it, which is sad because the talent in front of and behind the camera is immense. And yet the movie you kind of end up with is anything but talented. Number 4. I want to send a huge congratulations from my personal self to the 50 Shades cast and crew for making 3 movies which have ended up on the worst movies list of the respective years they've come out in. However, the first movie was number 4. The second movie was number 1. The third movie is back to being number 4, and that is because I thought this movie was awful, but it is not as bad as the sequel was. So congratulations on that account. Besides that, it's still terrible. It's still horribly written. It's still horribly acted. It's still horribly directed. It's still horribly composed. It's still horribly put together. It's boring. It's dull. Why did people pay money to see these movies? Thank God it's over. And the fact that there are 3 other movies which are worse than this in my opinion, it just gets better from here, right? Number 3. People love to tell other people that Disney pays critics so that they can get positive reviews. Surprise! Nutcracker is a Disney movie. It's number 3 on the worst movies of 2018 list. I did not like this movie. I paid money to go see this movie. I was gonna go for an advanced screening and I said, no, you know what? I'll pay my money. I'll actually be in the local theater. I had too much to do on the day there was an advanced screening. I should have gone for the advanced screening. I should have gone for it for free. I paid the price for this. It looks nice. That's it. And that too, it looks like Narnia meets Alice in Wonderland, and that's not what you want to see because, come on, man, we're in a time where those movies came and went, and it's over, and we're moving on to other things now. Why is this something we're still trapped in? This movie was terrible, and I would not recommend this to anyone. And of course, this Keira Knightley's Number 2. I don't know what's more embarrassing about Truth or Dare. Is it the fact that this is a film that actually exists and that it's number 2 on the worst movies of 2018? Or if it's the fact that this is called Blumhouse's Truth or Dare. Is this the movie you really wanted to put your name on? This is the same company that made Get Out, Split, 2 movies last year that were amazing. This is the movie you want to be like named after though. Like, yes, Truth or Dare, we made this. And you should know we made this. It's not like there's no talent behind the camera. Maybe there isn't, I don't know. I did not review this movie, as you may know, and I wish I could have ripped it apart earlier, but really, more than anything, despite the fact that this film has terrible acting and it has awful dialogue and direction, this film is just boring. It was so boring. I wanted to sleep every 5 minutes of the film. It's also very cringy and very uncomfortable, but not in like the sense that you think. It's not uncomfortable in its horror. It's just, it's so awkwardly done that you don't want to sit through it. It also has one of the most bizarre endings I've seen all year, in that how abrupt it is. We'll talk about abrupt endings later because there's one more movie left. But this film was just bad. It was just bad. And it has an interesting concept. A psychological thriller with Truth or Dare could be cool. Instead, we get Truth or Dare. Truth or Dare. Number 1. Where do I begin? I didn't have any high hopes for this film. I already thought it was going to be a bad movie. I've played the game once. It's fun. It's based on an actual thing that happened, kind of. It's kind of a rumor or something, as a legend, I don't know. And I get it. Somebody in an office at Sony was like, you know what, we should make that a movie. And they did. I don't think I've screamed into a pillow as much as I've ever, watching this movie. I wouldn't wish this movie upon my worst enemy. The dialogue especially is awful. The lighting in this movie is terrible. You can't see anything most of the time. When Slender Man finally shows up at the end of the film, which is the last 2 minutes of the movie, it's cool, kind of, but you can't see half of it, so what's the point of having the movie at all? It also has the stupidest, dumbest logic jumps I have ever seen in a movie. Every 5 seconds I had questions. There were things that happened in this movie that could have been sorted out within 3 seconds if characters had just turned around and said something. It could have been that easy to understand what the problem with this movie was and fix the problem right away. But the characters just keep making stupider and stupider decisions. It's an awful, awful movie, and it absolutely deserves to be the worst movie of 2018. Well, guys, that's it. That's 2018. I'm glad you guys were sticking around. I'm glad you guys came to my channel, but so it goes. Look forward to more videos very soon in January and the year after. This has been a great year for movies, and this is, well, for the channel as well. And thank you so much. We hit 1,000 subs. That was amazing. Thank you so much for being a part of my journey, guys. Thank you very much. Happy New Year and happy holidays to everybody who is watching. As always, if you like this, please do subscribe. I'll see you guys in the movies.